Good evening and welcome to your 2063 Perfect League World Series coverage. I'm your host, DRC, and I have the great honor and privilege of capping another excellent week of Perfect Team Main League play and providing you the play-by-play and analysis as we crown a new champion tonight. And we've got a great matchup for you tonight with the Emmett Maulers DLL going up against the San Diego Cats. What we're going to do is we're going to review each team, look at how they got to this point. We're going to honor the relegation Puma victims, and we are going to take some predictions. Who is going to win tonight, and in how many games are they going to do it? And we'll have some stats to assist us along the way. So first, let's start with our first team preview here, and we'll start with the San Diego Cats. So the first thing we do is we look at how good they are at scoring runs and how good they are at preventing the other team from scoring. So from a run scored perspective, Crazy Katie's San Diego Cats come in 7th out of 20 within the conference. From a run prevention perspective, they're also 7th. So above average in both, balanced in both, and then we see underpinning that run scoring environment for the Cats here is a pretty strong defensive team. 4th in zone rating, 4th in defensive efficiency, both near top marks within the conference, and that defensive efficiency of .709, definitely a very elite number for the Cats. As we look at home road split, at home they were a 580 team, on the road 543. So pretty balanced there as well. No months standing out too much. I mean, you see June and July here at 17 and 9 and 16 and 9, pretty solid months there. And then just the one underwater month there, the September at 12 and 16. Good enough to compile up to 91 wins over the course of the season and a first place finish within the NC Young. So let's look at the ballpark. So Crazy Katie plays within a unique ballpark. I believe this is the same that API ran when he was here a couple weeks ago. It's a ballpark that maximizes the contact, maximizes the batting average on balls in play for left-handed batters, while at the same time minning out right-handed batters. Maxing out the gaps, so doubles and triples juiced as high as they can go at a 1.5 factor, and then completely minning out the effect of home runs from both sides. Let's look at the players. So this is our first sighting of New Jackie. Brand new Jackie released just a couple short weeks ago, getting its first action in Perfect League here. And you see a pretty solid season. A triple slash of 276, 333, 466, good enough for a 112 OPS plus. In addition to very solid defense, a plus 16 ZR at second base, only 5 errors on the season. So New Jackie definitely made their presence felt within the Perfect League. Maybe a couple more homers than you'd expect with a 92 home run power. But Crazy Katie definitely got her money's worth on Jackie Robinson this week. One thing that I found interesting about the lineup here is you see that it's Campanella every day. So you don't often see teams running Campanella every day. It looks like Mauer was the backup. And then judging from the starts that Mauer was able to make, Mauer was getting just as many starts versus left as he was versus right. So this looks like a purely Campanella starting lineup spot backed up by Mauer. And whenever Campanella was tired, Mauer would come in. So oftentimes you see people having Mauer as the default starter versus right, or at least trying to maximize the amount of versus right starts for Mauer. But Crazy Katie appeared comfortable with Campanella's defense and ability to put the ball over the fence, and that he did. 14 homers over the course of the season from Roy Campanella in 454 plate appearances. From a pitching perspective, we see that Crazy Katie employed the 5 horses approach. Set your rotation and let them do what they do. And what she ended up using here was, Your core four, which is what we've seen many teams on this broadcast use, which is Pedro, Walter, Spawn, and Maddox. Some flavor of Maddox. Crazy Katie's got the 100 legend variety. And then that fifth slot is oftentimes a wild card. Sometimes we see Glavine. Sometimes we see Seaver. And this time we see Roger Clemens in that fifth spot, putting up 180 pretty quality innings here, right at that 5 ERA mark, and coming into this World Series with a hot streak. In the pen, we've got a couple interesting names here. We've got a Bartolo in the pen. So Bartolo, one of the rarer cards in the game, harder to find cards, more valuable cards in the game. So Bartolo in the pen here. You also see a Tom Glavine pen arm. A lot of people, if they don't have a spot in the rotation for Tom, will choose to not put him in the pen, given his low stuff and low stuff boost about that transition. But Crazy Katie found very good success with Tom in the pen here. 75 innings pitched of only 2.88 on the ERA. The whip right at 1. So a very solid season for Tom. Now let's look at the path. How did the Cats get to this point? Well, they swept the Chinooks 3-0 in round 1. Had to go to 7 against Antarctica in round 2. Let's take a quick peek at that series. And you see it was somewhat of a back and forth affair. Antarctica got up 2-1. Cats evened it 2-2. Took the 3-2 lead in Game 5, the pivotal Game 5. But the Penguins were able to force the 7th game with a resounding 8-1 victory, only to have Crazy Katie's Cats come out 13-5 victorious in game number 7. After that, Crazy Katie was able to deal with a DLL killer, Highland Deer. You see Highland Deer's path here. They knocked out API, a member of the DLL in round 1, and then knocked out the Sydney Blue Sox, last week's Perfect League champion, and another member of the DLL in round 2, knocking them out 4-1. And Crazy Katie took care of them in 5 games. From a historical perspective, let's take a look at the Cats' history. You see that this is their 3rd week in the Perfect League and their 1st week in the playoffs in Perfect League. So definitely very exciting for Crazy Katie as she's earned her opportunity here on the big stage for the first time, despite being a very high-level Diamond team for as far back as whatever this would have been, probably May. Probably mid to late May. She's been a 100-win Diamond League team. Has made Perfect League a couple different times, so this is her first opportunity to be in the Perfect League playoffs. And as you look at the hiatus or gap between her last opportunity, you see an 11-week stint in Diamond Leagues between her last stint in Perfect League and this one. So definitely been waiting for this opportunity and has capitalized on it as she looks for her first Perfect League World Series this week. Longhorn asking the question, which will have the same answer forever, is DRC in Perfect this week? The answer is no, and it will also be no for next week, and the week after that, and the week after that, and the week after that. I'm trapped in DLL for the rest of time. Today I got to lose to Mac Jacks for the 2nd week in a row in the Division Series. Next week I look forward to losing to someone again. Who knows? I know Mac Jacks and wait till next year we're in the World Series duking out who is going to come up to Perfect next week. I haven't heard who came out on top. Maybe it's not even over yet. So if someone in DLL can drop an update, that'd be good. All right, so let's jump over to Emmett Maulers, another member of the DLL, and let's see what kind of season they had. Now, this one was very notable. Runs scored, 19th. 19th. You think that's horrible? There's 20 teams in the conference. How can this team be in the World Series? They are the 2nd worst at run production in the conference. Well, the way they do it is they win in a different way. Look at run prevention. First in the AC, only 627 runs allowed all season long. And how did they do it? Defense. Their .715 defensive efficiency, even better than Crazy Katie's fourth best rating in her conference. The plus 16 ZR, even better than what Crazy Katie had. So we'll look at how they're doing that in just a moment here. As we look at the ballpark here for Emmett, we see a righty cheese park. So we're maxing out righty average, we're maxing out righty home runs, and we are minning out the gaps, bringing doubles and triples down as far as they can go. And now players, this is where we see something real interesting that we haven't seen on one of these broadcasts before. We see a super defensive heavy outfield alignment. So versus right-hand pitching, we've got Griffey. So one, you don't see Griffey in righty cheese very often. Griffey is often reserved for lefty cheese builds or neutral builds where he's just going to be a platoon bat. Well, what you see here is that Emmett's not choosing Griffey or Mays. He's going with Griffey and Mays. Griffey's playing center field, Willie Mays in right field, with Gwynn completing the outfield for what will be an extremely difficult outfield to drop the ball in against. Griffey with his huge 113 range patrolling center, Willie Mays with his notable 106 range out in right field, and then Tony Gwynn in his 92 range hanging out in left field. So very heavy defensive build there. You wouldn't expect Griffey to hit too much in a righty cheese park. 682 on the OPS, that's honestly better than it could have been. And you plug in 26 home runs, that's not bad at all. Those 26 home runs can certainly be impactful on a day-to-day basis. Mays coming out with 35. You also see Freddie Freeman. And this isn't just any Freddie Freeman. This is a Freddie Freeman with a history. Look where this Freddie Freeman was just 2 seasons ago. So first off, Emmett's getting way more production out of this Freddie than I ever did. But I'm happy to see him on a big stage and to see Freddie Freeman really delivering for him. I mean, look at this production in a righty cheese park is really notable. So Freddie Freeman rocking a 374 OBP in a park that's geared towards hurting him. So that's a really great season there. The home runs certainly took a nosedive there. You'd expect Freeman to hit a whole lot more than 6 over the course of a season, but I don't think Emmett's going to complain too much about a 374 OBP in a platoon bat who can go on the road, go into those lefty cheese parks, and really be an asset for him. We also see something interesting with the infield shuffling that Emmett is doing here. So we see Robin Yount playing versus right-hand pitching. So the choices that you see in this equation or this discussion would be Yount or Knapp or Brooks Robinson. And you see Emmett going with Yount. But then when we go versus left, Yount disappears. And in comes Knapp at first base for Freddie. And then in comes Brooks Robinson at second base for Yount. So interesting utilization of the various pieces there. Emmett using every player on his roster between the two lineups, with the exception of Campanella, who backs up Yvonne Rodriguez. All right, we are 1 minute from our Game 1 sim. Let's quickly look at Emmett's path on how he got here. So 3-2 in Week 1 against the Cows. Tough team to knock out there, and then follow that up with a 6-game series versus the Elysian Fields 9. Very difficult team as well. And then a 5-game series versus the Green Dragons prior to making it to this point. So definitely battle-hardened to get to this point. This is Emmett's 7th season within the Perfect League. This is his 2nd opportunity in the playoffs, and he's a bounce back. And so what I call a bounce back is someone who gets relegated from Perfect, goes down to Diamond, and wins that first week. So Emmett's hiatus, if you can even call it that, was 1 week. He got booted for an 80 and 82 season. No shame in that. Goes down to Diamond, and not just any Diamond, but the DLL League, and beats Mac Jack. Mac Jack's in the World Series last week to earn his way back up, and now finds himself trying to be the second DLL Perfect League champion in a row, as Sydney Blue Sox DLL won it last week. So that's the matchup, guys. Who is going to win, and in how many games are they going to do it? Let's see it in the chat. Who you got? You got Emmett in 6. You got Katie in 4. That's the big question. While you guys are filling up the chat with your predictions there, I'm going to load up our first sim here that should be coming back any moment now. So who's going to win, and in how many games are they going to do it? That is the question. We'll make the screen dark as I load up the sim. Make sure we don't spoil any game outcomes here. Let's see if we've got our sim. All right, not quite yet. I'll try to load it up again because it should be back, as I've got it 1 minute past the half hour here. Let's take a peek in the chat and see what you guys think. All right, we've got TJ in 6, Maulers in 6. Maulers because defense wins, says Tech 15. Quick shout out for Tech 15. The winner, can I call it that? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. The qualifier for the mild card this week. As Chris had attested or shared with us, due to a little quirk with the quantity of diamond leagues this week, there needed to be one extra team that did not make the playoffs but retained their ability to stay in Perfect League. And that appears to have been Tech 15. And let's just say they earned it. I mean, Tech finds himself on this stream half the weeks, competing for a Perfect League World Series. And so if anyone deserves that mild card, call it a Lifetime Achievement Award, get out of jail free card to stay in Perfect, I'm more than happy giving that to Tech. All right, still don't have a sim on my end. Let me try one more time. Sometimes the first one's a little sticky, a little tricky to get up. Did the Packers end up losing that game? I was following that before we went live. Let's see, other picks we had in the chat. Cats in 6, Maulers in 5, Cats in 7, Cats 6, Maulers 7, Emmets in 6. I think for future streams we need to set up a little Google form or a little something to display what people think is going to go down, and then we can look at it after the fact. All right, we do have our sim back, and the Bucs did beat the Packers. And as a Bears fan, I can't tell you how much joy that gives me. I can't tell you how much joy that gives me. All right, game 1. Let's get this World Series underway. 2063 Perfect League World Series. We are starting this in Emmett's Ballpark. Now let's remember, Emmett's Ballpark is a righty cheese park with the gaps minned out. So righty batters are at advantage to lefties here in this park. And he's going to send 100 legend Maddox to the mound to face a lineup that Katie has constructed here that is made up of 4 lefties, 4 righties, and a switch-hitting Ozzie Smith. We'll get this underway with Maddox facing Cobb. He bunts. Maddox feels his position, throws to first, not in time. A very deliberate and delayed Maddox gets the ball over late, and the speedy Ty Cobb has bunted his way aboard to start this World Series, a first in these broadcasts. We are now moving to the top of the second inning. So Emmett Mauler still on the mound here. They're Maddox now facing Roy Campanella. Let's use this opportunity for our first crack at our matchup analyzer, which is going to sit in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. We will load up the pitcher in this moment, which is Greg Maddux, legend. We will load up the hitter, and it happens to be Roy Campanella. As we pointed out, Katie uniquely runs Roy Campanella versus both hands and has Joe Mauer as the backup. Let's see how it plays out here in this moment. So we'll set up both pitcher and hitter. We will pick the split. As you can see, it says split versus right for Maddox and split versus right for Campanella. The advantage here definitely goes to the pitcher, but you have to keep in mind in this ballpark, Maddox's numbers would be slightly worse than this and Campanella's numbers slightly better. 2-2 count. Mahler's looking for a double play, and Crazy Katie looking for something in the gaps here. Wind in the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Maddox with a big strikeout of Campanella, which is going to push us now to the bottom of the second. And up comes Ken Griffey Jr. We talked about how he was an interesting decision by Emmett Mahlers, as he does not often play as part of righty cheese builds. And not only did he play, but he popped 26 homers over the course of the season for Emmett, and has an opportunity here with Robin Yount on first, 2 away, facing Crazy Katie's Roger Clemens. Wind in the pitch, and he gets into that one. That ball hit deep, hit well to right, and out of here. The Emmett Mahlers strike first in the 63 series, and do so off the bat of Ken Griffey Jr. A 399-foot homer, putting the Mahlers up 2-0. We go top 3 now. Katie's Cats looking to strike back. They've got runners at the corners and Barry Bonds at the plate. Barry Bonds, one of the newer cards within the Perfect League universe. We'll go ahead and pull up his stats. Barry Bonds versus right, as we have Greg Maddux versus left here in this moment. Advantage goes to the hitter. The pitch. Fly ball to center. In comes Griffey and makes the grab. Tagging from third is the runner. He'll make it without a throw. But an excellent grab by Ken Griffey Jr., saving even further damage. But the Cats have cut the lead in half from 2-1. Emmett Mahlers sneak a run back. Off camera, they grab a third run, make it 3-1 Mahlers, and we go top 6. The Mahlers, Maddox still on the mound. And wouldn't you know it, Barry Bonds is our next highlight. Don't need to touch the matchup analyzer, as all is good there. And we'll get this play underway. 1-2 count, the pitch. Ground ball to first base and through. Freddie Freeman doesn't even move. And Bonds is going to have himself a leadoff double. Bonds now on third base with 1 away. And Wade Boggs comes to the dish. Boggs, one of the best hitters in Perfect League, if not the best. Let's pull him up in our matchup analyzer, which is performing even slower than before. Starting to get to that point of having too much data. It's now starting to crank and wind as I try to move it around. Maddox clinging to that 2-run lead. Not someone known for strikeouts, which is really what the doctor's ordering here in this situation. And our matchup analyzer is set. You see the matchup heavily favors Boggs here, an elite on-base performer. You see the outfield shifted the other way with Griffey and Mays shifted from right to left. 1-1 count. Infield back conceding the run. Fly ball to right. Hit somewhat deep. Mays will make the grab and throwing home. Runner's going to try to score. Safe. Make it 3-2. We go top 6 now. Katie trying to scratch across that tying run. It sits out at second base with 2 outs in the form of Jackie Robinson. At the dish is Campanella. He's worked a 3-0 count. Winding the pitch, swinging on 3-0 is Campy, and he lines it through the left side. Jackie around third. He's going to try to score. Here comes the throw. Not in time. Jackie Robinson scores from second base. Campanella swinging on 3-0 there. Somewhat surprising. Maybe less so when you think about who was in the on-deck circle. Ozzie Smith to be batting left-handed in a park which would really nerf him down. So the San Diego Cats coach gambles on that 3-0 green light, and Campanella rewards him. We go top 7 now. The Maulers Maddox still hanging on in this game. Has given up 9 hits and 3 earned runs, but is being given the vote of confidence from the coach to head right back out there for this 7th inning. The first assignment's going to be Ty Cobb, and as the matchup analyzer will tell you, this is a dangerous one. Ty Cobb rocks an .868 OPS versus right-hand pitching. The most dangerous hitter in the game versus right-hand pitching. 1-2 count, the wind and the pitch. Line drive, base hit up the middle. Cobb leads off the 7th with a single. Next up, Tony Gwynn. You have to wonder at what point the Maulers go to their pen. 2-2 count. It's not yet. The pitch. Line drive up the middle. Another base hit. Cobb around second. He's going to try for third. Safe. And the San Diego Cats have a rally brewing here in the top of the 7th. Infield now comes in as we've got Rogers Hornsby to the plate. Rogers Hornsby, one of the better hitters in this game, does less damage versus right-hand pitching. But in a matchup like this, where all contact is getting the right-handed buff, and you're facing a pitcher like Maddox, very unlikely to strike out Hornsby, this matchup is heavily advantaging the hitter. The pitch. Little blooper. Moving over as the first baseman, and he makes the grab. A huge first out there for Maddox and the Maulers. Next batter up will be Barry Bonds. You see the pronounced infield split with Robin Yount on the wrong side of second base. Maulers playing still for the run at home. Runner on third is Cobb. Excellent base runner, tons of speed. Full count. The pitch. Fly ball to right, not hit deep. We might have a play at the plate here. That ball's caught. Coming home, it's not going to be in time. The Cats take a 4-3 lead here in the 7th on a Barry Bonds sacrifice fly. Bottom 7 now for the first time in this game. The Maulers are chasing. They are down 4-3 and they start their 7th inning facing Bartolo Colon with Tony Gwynn in the batter's box. He's worked himself a full count and now lines a base hit to left field. Leadoff single for Gwynn. Next batter up is Rogers Hornsby. The pitch, swing, and a miss, strike 3. Bartolo Colon with a big strikeout here to get out number 1 in the 7th. Next up, Ty Cobb. The pitch, line drive, base hit up the middle. Gwynn around second. He's going to hold there. A strong throw in from center field prevented him from getting the extra base there. Maulers now will bat with Willie Mays at the dish. Facing Bartolo Colon, Mays a double play threat. If Colon can induce a ground ball here, good chance of turning 2. 1-2 count on Mays. The wind and the pitch. Fly ball to center. Playable. Tagging is Gwynn. He bluffs a move to third. Will hold there. And an unproductive out for Mays. And up comes Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman called out on the pre-broadcast prep here. Not a card you see a ton of in Perfect League, and definitely not one you see much of in righty cheese builds. But he's got an opportunity here to tie the game with any sort of base hit. The pitch. Grounder to third. Pitcher fields it. Long throw. He dropped it. The throw is off the mark. Rogers Hornsby unable to handle the throw from Bartolo Colon. That's going to be an error, and it's also going to extend the inning. Brings up Robin Yount here with a huge opportunity, and that opportunity is going to bring the fans to their feet here. Game 1 of the World Series, rooting on their Emmett's Maulers, trying to come through in this big spot here. 2-2 count. Wind in the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Bartolo Colon ends the rally. He will retake the hill in the bottom of the 8th, and he'll start with Brooks Robinson. Brooks Robinson is donning an icy cold snowflake emoji, which normally doesn't portend well for your highlights, but we'll see what happens here. 1-2 count. The wind and the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Colon starts off the 8th with a strikeout. Now 2 away as Colon has retired Griffey, and up comes Yvonne Rodriguez. 0-1 count on Yvonne. The wind and the pitch. Fly ball center. Playable. In comes Mays and makes the grab. 3 up, 3 down in the 8th as Bartolo Colon's having one heck of a relief appearance here today. We go top 9 now, and the Cats are in the business of looking for an insurance run. They've got Ty Cobb at second base. And Rogers Hornsby at the dish with 1 away, facing Bruce Sutter. 0-1 count, the pitch. Up the middle, base hit. No! Fielded by the second baseman, able to prevent the base hit with a well-defended play ranging to his right, but did not have a play. So that'll be an infield hit for Hornsby. The importance of him gloving that one, though, is that it prevents Cobb from scoring on the play. They'll now have runners at the corners for Barry Bonds as we load up our Bruce Sutter matchup analyzer. We'll do Bruce Sutter versus left at the same time as we load up our Barry Bonds versus right. Advantage to the hitter here. 2-2 count. Wind in the pitch. Fly ball deep right center! Gone! Barry Bonds plays long ball. Make it 7-3 Cats. A cornucopia of insurance runs here in the top of the 9th. The Boo Birds come out for the Maulers, as that one is a hurt. That one hurts you big time. We go bottom 9 now. 0-2 count on Cobb, 1 strike away from the Cats taking Game 1 of this 2063 World Series. Hoffman on the hill to get it. The wind and the pitch. Strike 3 called, and the Cats have done it. They've come into Emmett Town and stolen Game 1. Let's look at the box score and see how they did it. We see that Emmett worked that early lead, getting 2 across in the bottom of the 2nd, but Katie was quick at it in the top of the 3rd to cut the lead in half. Despite being able to grow the lead back to 2, Katie picking up 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, and then the huge shot in the 9th there to put this one out of reach. From a pitching perspective, you had Katie rocking Roger Clemens, who was able to dance around 9 base runners over 5 2/3 innings, only letting 3 of them score. Whereas Emmett had Maddox go 6 2/3, only giving up 4, but Bruce Sutter coming in and yielding 3 more runs there. We see that Robin Yount also had an error leading to an unearned run for the Cats. All right, so let's blind this out. We should have 2 sim ready to rock and roll. Let me go retrieve it for you guys, and we'll get right back at it. Wait till next year asking the money question of why is Bruce Sutter the way that he is. I can't give you a good answer there, but I say the same thing about Liam Hendricks. I say the same thing about Mariano Rivera. No picnic having to traverse tough, close games with those guys in the back of your pen. But there's not really any better options, so these are the cards you're dealt. All right, let's go game 2. We see that starting this game for Emmett will be Roger Clemens, who was the key pitcher for the Cats in game 1. And Clemens is walking into that same lineup that the Cats rolled out in game 1. 4 lefties, 4 righties, switch hitter. We'll start this game off with Ty Cobb. The wind and the pitch. Little looper to center. Going to be a long run for Griffey on his way. Makes the grab. 1 up, 1 down. Let's do a quick fast forward here. We jump all the way to the top of the 4th. We've got Crazy Katie at the plate here with Tony Gwynn on first. Rogers, Hornsby at the dish. Let's load up some Roger Clemens numbers as we face Rogers Hornsby here. Roger v. Rogers. Spreadsheet really working its way through here. All right, Roger Clemens versus Wright. We've got that loaded up. Let's find our Rogers Hornsby. Pretty neutral advantage here, but when you think about contact and the way that this ballpark plays, I'd tip it slightly to the hitter and Rogers Hornsby. Full count on him. Clemens struggles to limit the free passes, so always a risk, even in this moment here. The wind and the pitch, and he does. He does walk him. That will be a free pass for Rogers Hornsby and put runners at first and second. Nobody out for Barry Bonds. Now we know that Barry Bonds put his imprint on Game 1 with that 3-run insurance homer, as well as a sacrifice fly. Looking for an opportunity here early in Game 2. The pitch, fly ball to center, hit well, Griffey tracking, back, makes the grab on the warning track. Now tagging from second, great base running by Gwynn. He heads over to third as Bonds just missed. Going yard there, chasing Griffey all the way to the warning track. The next batter now is Willie Mays. He bats into an infield drawn in here and shifted, as we have both Ozzie Smith and Yount to the left side of second base. 1-2 count, the pitch. Grounder to short. Over to first. In time, they were able to hold the runner. So Yount fields it as the second baseman in your traditional shortstop position. Throws to first, gets the out, and prevents a run from scoring, which means that this rally will hinge on Wade Boggs' ability to come through here down 0-2 in the count with runners at second and third. Wind in the pitch. Little looper to center. Griffey giving chase. He'll make the grab. Roger Clemens pitches around some danger there in the 4th, keeping this one tied. Still tied, we move to the bottom of the 7th. We see that the Cats have 1 hit all game, and the Maulers only 4. Walter Johnson now into the game for the Cats, facing Robin Yount. 0-2 count. Wind in the pitch. Line drive, base hit to center field. Yount will start off the 7th with a leadoff single. Home fans love it. Now brings up Ozzie Smith. 2-1 count on him. The pitch. That ball gets away. Campanella gives chase. Won't prevent Yount from moving up to second base. That's a passed ball on Roy Campanella. Now Ozzie Smith has an opportunity to have a productive out here. Just ground out to the second baseman and move Yount on over to third. He's worked a full count here against Walter Johnson. The pitch. Ball 4. Ozzie Smith works an unlikely 6-pitch walk. And now the Maulers are really in business here late in Game 2. Griffey now back to the dish. Now Griffey hit a homer in Game 1. Doesn't need to do as much damage here in Game 2, but some productive contact would be what the doctor ordered here. The infield will shift, as will the outfield. 0-2 count, the pitch. Fly ball to left center. Ranging over is Mays. He'll make the grab. Tagging and bluffing is Yount. Will not try to move to third. And that's the first out of the inning. Next up, Roy Campanella. Campy facing Walter Johnson here with 1 away. Crazy Katie looking for a double play ball. The pitch. Grounder to short. To second, 1 to first. In time. Double play. Rally killing. Twin killing. For the Maulers. This one will go to the 8th. Still tied. As we lead off the 8th, we have brand new Jackie. First time appearance on the Perfect League World Series broadcast for new Jackie Robinson Historical Legend card. And he leads off this 8th inning versus Roger Clemens. The wind and the pitch. Line drive, base hit up the middle. Jackie will start the 8th with a laser line drive right back through the box. Now, Jackie Robinson, not quite the base runner that the special edition Jackie is, but no slouch. And he is at first base with Roy Campanella at the plate. Campanella had that pass ball earlier, looking to make amends for it here. The pitch. Line drive to left field, base hit. Tony Gwynn fields it on a hop. Jackie Robinson will stay at second base, and now Crazy Katie is the one with the big rally with 2 on and nobody out. Up to the plate is Ozzie Smith here. Ozzie, not the best sacrifice bunter in the world. If there ever was a place for it, though, it's right here. We'll see if he squares around up in the count 2-1. The pitch. Little blooper. Ranging over is Campy, but giving way to Rogers Hornsby, and Hornsby squeezes a leather on it. A very unproductive foul ball pop-out for Ozzie Smith. That turns the lineup over for Ty Cobb. We know Ty Cobb is dangerous. And we can see just how dangerous he is when we update our matchup analyzer. And we see that 868 OPS and 24.1 bat value staring us in the face in the bottom right-hand corner of our screen. 1-1 count. Clemens working around trouble. The pitch. Line drive to right center. It's down and a hit. Jackie around third. He's going to try to score, and he will. The Cats have taken the lead in the top of the 8th of Game 2. Now 1-0. Still in the top of the 8th here. Clemens still in the game. Second game in a row we've seen the Maulers with a long hook for their starter. And Gwynn now bats with 1 away and 2 on the pitch. Grounded to first. Diving stop. Freeman throw to first, and it gets past the pitcher. Despite the ball getting away, no runners try to advance an extra base, but what that does cost the Maulers there is an extra out here in this inning. Clemens unable to squeeze that one as the throw from Freeman was too hot for him. They're now loaded. Bring the infield in and bring up Rogers Hornsby to the plate. The Maulers found themselves in a late game situation trying to keep a game at a 1-run deficit in Game 1, right as Barry Bonds hit a 3-run homer, making it a 4-run deficit. Similar risk here in Game 2. Clemens looking to get that lead runner at the plate or find some route to a double play. Line in the pitch. Line drive up the middle, base hit. 1 run will score. Cobb around third, he's going to try to score. Here comes the throw, not in time. Make it 3-0 Cats, as Clemens gives up a 2-run single to Rogers Hornsby here in the 8th. Next batter up, Barry Bonds, looking to do something similar to what he did in Game 1. The wind in the pitch, and Bonds laces a base hit to right. Gwynn around third, he's not going to try to score. He'll hold there, and the bases are loaded again. And no further runs come from that rally. We move all the way to the top of the 9th now. And we start off here with Jackie Robinson. And Robinson is facing the Maulers' Trevor Hoffman. 1-0 count on him. The wind and the pitch. Little ground ball. Hoffman off the mound to field it. Over to first. Not in time. Jackie beats out an infield play. Hoffman was able to get to it quickly, but couldn't quite get a strong throw over to Freeman. And so Jackie aboard to lead off this 9th inning. No trouble coming for the rest of the top of the 9th, but we go bottom 9 now. And the Maulers are going to need to manufacture 3 runs here in the bottom of the 9th inning and do so with nobody aboard and 2 away with Robin Yount facing Trevor Hoffman. 1-2 count, the wind and the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And the San Diego Cats have come into Emmettown and taken both games 1 and 2, which has earned them an interpretive dance routine between the mound and home plate to which they have obliged. And now the series will shift over to San Diego, as the Cats will only need to take 2 of 3 in their park to nail down their first perfect league World Series. The Maulers are left searching for answers here as they were unable to even split at home to start off this World Series, despite being a team that won 76.3% of their home games during the regular season. Let's look at the box score and see how it went down. We see that the Cats' Walter Johnson was just too much. 8 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, but no earned runs, only striking out 4. So pitching to contact a bit there and doing so with great success. Trevor Hoffman came in and nailed it down with a couple outs there in the 9th inning. On Emmett's side, another solid outing. Clemens goes 7 1/3, only gives up 3. It's just when your opponent's giving up 0, it doesn't leave you much margin for error. They have their Hoffman come in and close it down for 5 outs there, but the damage had already been done. And now the Maulers are left searching for that first victory, and will need to find it within San Diego. We know that San Diego is, conversely to how the Maulers have it set up, San Diego is a lefty cheese park. So Emmett will need to retool that lineup, will need to rethink how he's going to go about scoring his runs as he's going into the opposite type park. Also, instead of min gaps, instead of minimized doubles and triples, Katie's got them maximized. So a bigger run-scoring environment there. And I think for the Maulers, the fact that they do have a Ken Griffey Jr. on team, the fact that they do have a Freddie Freeman, gives them a puncher's chance here to steal a couple games in San Diego and make a series out of this thing. Chuck with a good reminder to update the board. I'll do so now. So let's give the Cats game 1 and give the Cats game 2 as well. We are up to speed there now. From a pitching perspective, Emmett is advertising Walter Johnson for game 3 to be faced up against the Cats' Pedro Martinez. Now I'll go ahead and load up the most recent sim so we can take a look at pitcher rest, as this next sim is an off day for each team as they travel to San Diego. Oh, Yuka, you've all been reminding me for the past 15 minutes it's hard. When we go right into another game, it's hard. All right, so we are back. So today's game here, first game in San Diego. Let's look at our pitcher rest situation. So for the Maulers, we've got Spawn as our advertised starter now. And then from a bullpen perspective, everyone is available. The only 2 pitchers unavailable are Maddox and Clemens, who are our starters in games 1 and game 2. Let's go check on the Cats. Somewhat similar situation. Let's see Bartolo. So Bartolo, you see that there's a difference between the starting pitcher rest and the relief pitcher rest. So when you see that 42, don't just assume that that's the applicable rest, given that the pitcher is currently labeled as a starting pitcher, so you can drill in, and if they're in the bullpen, it will show you both. And so we see Bartolo's at 77% rested. AI is probably not going to use it unless things get a bit hairy. But Katie more or less has every option afforded to her as well, with just Clemens and Johnson entirely off the board as the starters from games 1 and game 2, and then Cologne kind of on the fridge, as well as Hoffman being less than 80% in pitch fatigue. Now we're advertising Pedro Martinez as the starter for this game. We do have a fire Greg Maddox at her disposal as well. Hitman asking about Bartolo data. Let's see if I've got Bartolo data. Normally I don't have enough. Looks like I've got a little bit. So Bartolo the starter at 34, Bartolo the reliever at 127. You see Crazy Katie added 49 innings to that this year, seeing a 4.04 ERA, outperforming a 4.99 FIP. All right, what else did I miss in the chat? Let's see. Looks like the Chiefs are losing. That's unfortunate. How did DRC do in DLL? Not great. Another loss to the Mac Jackson playoffs. All right. So we've got 9 minutes until our Game 3 sim. And we've got the Cats really leading pace of play here so far in this World Series. The Maulers have only been able to scratch across 3 runs total in Games 1 and Game 2, and will really look to accelerate that here in Game 3. In looking at our Perfect League data, as we look at our Perfect League pitchers of the week here, let me sort this by ERA. So number 1 pitcher in the league this week was Mariano Rivera, contrary to popular opinion. You had a strong Shane Bieber, rocking a 3.77 ERA. Let me check my the years I have on this. Okay, so this is actually the last 3 years, so not just this week. Hoffman right behind him. So you see the strong bullpen arms really leading the charge here. Rivera, Bieber, Hoffman, Carlton, Hendricks, all deployed primarily in the bullpen. But a pretty noticeable Christy Mathewson there, popping up at 3.91 as a card that's typically deployed as a starter, a reverse splits right-handed starting pitcher. Raleigh Fingers showing that he's still got some run left. A high control reliever as well, somewhat susceptible to the long ball. When I was rocking my my lefty cheese with minned out gaps, I had a good run with Raleigh Fingers. Here's Pedro. So a lot of these innings will be starter innings, which are tougher than reliever innings for sure. Pedro at 4.15 on the ERA. If we just limit this to pitchers as starters, we see that Pedro rocks up from the middle of the pack to being number 2 here, only behind a very short sample SE Lefty Grove. Noticeable that you've got a trio of lefties here, right at that 4.5 mark. Your Warren Spahn, Tom Glavine, and Andy Pettit. One of the things that I will say, though, is that from an observed stats perspective, you have to always understand the context. You can't just take what you see in league play as gospel and believe that that's what you can expect. Knowing the ballparks with which people put up these statistics, as well as the context in their role types. Was someone used as a set it and forget it starter, or were they protected? Were they used as a follower? Were they used as a specialist, giving themselves the best opportunity at the best matchups? So while I am devoutly an observed stats person who loves to pull, review, and analyze the observed stats, you always have to take into consideration just how these pitchers were actually deployed. You can't just look at this and say, okay, Tom Glavine is better than everyone's below him, because context really matters. You know, it's funny here, as Tech is talking about it in the chat, our 3-year sample here has Maddox legend above Maddox face of the franchise, which has been a recurring theme. That's not atypical. We've seen Legend perform with him, outperform him, slightly be beneath him. So as a card, the face of the franchise just hasn't delivered on being a premium above and beyond the Legend Maddox. Four minutes to the sim here. Let's look at reliever rankings here. So just pitchers used in relief. We see SE Noodles Hahn, the top of the list, 3.26 on the ERA. Somewhat small sample size of only 370 innings pitched, but good enough to be thinking about. SE Steve Carlton. So say what you will about his control profile. He gets it done in terms of run prevention. Only 3.51 on the ERA in over 2,600 innings. Better than Mariano Rivera. David Price, another elite reliever. Somewhat surprised by Madison Bumgarner's inclusion here. And again, this is a 3-year sample. Hero Driver, yes, that is a postseason Madison Bumgarner there that you're seeing. But I'd caution you about making too grand of an assertion off of a 500 innings pitch sample. I would not expect him to hang around with this class of card here. I would think he'd be significantly worse than Price, Rivera, Bieber, Pedro. I see wait till next year saying Pettit not good, and I don't think I would agree with it wholeheartedly. I would just say that you got to be real careful about how and where you're deploying your Pettit. Pettit's going to give up a lot of contact to both lefties and righties. So if you're cheesing your park either way, Pettit is going to struggle against whichever hand is boosted by that contact. Now, if we ever saw a return to nerfed parks where you have sub 1 factors of contact versus both sides, I think a pitcher like Pettit, pitcher like Maddox, pitcher like Glavine, they'll play even better. And they'll be more than viable. But that really hasn't been a meta choice that we've seen. However, I will say, I'll give credit to Mac. He didn't run a fully nerfed build this week, but he brought down the gaps, I want to say, to about 0.8. And I think his average in power was around 0.95. And he picked up 95 or so wins in DLL with that build. So maybe something to think about. I do like the Pettit card more than I like the Bumgarner card. I also have a soft spot for Pettit, as he was a key card that I picked up in my my big season. My big Perfect League season, which only feels like it was forever ago at this point. Yeah, Hitman asking about the Pete Browning card. No, I never looked into that. I forgot about that. 1 minute to the sim here. So the task at hand for the Maulers is to get back in this series. You know, the only such thing as a must-win is an elimination game. However, given that these next 3 games are in San Diego, and given that he's already down 2-0, I'm going to call Game 3 a must-win for the Maulers to get back in this game. They're going to need their Warren Spawn to pick up the team and put it on its back, Greg Jennings style. Yeah, Tech, you're right. I did buy the Pettit for the playoffs. It was right after I won round 1 of the Perfect League playoffs. I was going into round 2 against Jason Millay, and I didn't have a rested left-handed starter for a park where I really needed a left-handed starter. And so I found someone willing to sell their Pettit. And at the time, I want to say it was $500K. Like, no joke. That's what Pettit went for, as you can probably get one now for $70K. But I dropped the $500K to pick up a Pettit to have the right pitcher for game 1 of that series. Pettit wins game 1 of that series. I go on to win against Jason Millay in the second round of the playoffs, beat whomever in the third round, and then lucky enough to come out on top of the World Series. All right, I'm going to blind us out here and then try to go load up the sim. As we are on day number 213 of the Perfect League season in the league year 2063. These are always stressful games as you're trying to coach your team through to a victory. Find yourself down 2-0. Know that Game 3 couldn't be any more important to your prospects of pulling out that series and really getting back into it. What is the right move that you need to pull? How do you sequence your pitchers? How do you change your lineup? These are the questions that Emmett is facing as he looks to get back on the right path here. We do have a sim, so we are good to go for Game 3. So let's set the stage. Remember, we have shifted ballparks. We are no longer in Emmett's righty cheese park. We are now in Katie's lefty cheese park, and she's only cheesing the average. And by that, we mean maxing it out. So lefties get an average boost in this park. Righties get an average nerf. Now, from a gaps perspective, all batters get a gap boost for doubles and triples in this park. Whereas for home runs, both are entirely minned out at a 0.9 factor. So Katie's going to send out Greg Maddux to start off this game, and Greg Maddux will be facing a lineup with 4 lefties. 1-2 count on Gwynn as we get underway here in Game 3. Wind in the pitch. Little dinker. Maddux fields it. Throw to first in time. The Cats Maddux, in a cat-like way, pounces off the mound, gets on that little nubber out in front of the plate, fields it and throws it on to first base in time. Despite retiring Gwynn and Cobb in succession, Maddux has found himself into a bit of trouble here, as Hornsby and Freeman are now aboard for an icy cold Willie Mays. Mays has worked himself a 3-1 count here in the top of the first. Wind in the pitch. He walked him. So Maddux has walked the bases loaded, which brings up Ken Griffey Jr. and a very early big moment in this ballgame. We'll load it up in the matchup analyzer here, already in the top of the first. So Greg Maddux versus left. And then Ken Griffey Jr. What you're going to see with Ken Griffey Jr.'s numbers is that while he is not an on-base machine, nor does his batting average stand out, Ken Griffey is a slugging first profile. That .438 slug being the greenest of all his metrics and boiling out to a .734 on base or OPS and a bat value just slightly underwater versus average. The infield will be shifted here. Big moment in Game 3. The pitch. Up the middle. Fielded, and he takes the easy spot. Just steps on the bag at second. And that will end the rally. 3 runners left on base for the Maulers in the first inning. We go bottom 1 now. And we've got Randy Johnson on the hill for the Maulers. Randy Johnson, who was in the Maulers bullpen in a specialist role, is now seeing action here in the first inning, pitching to his third batter. 1-0 count on Cobb. Wind in the pitch. Cobb gets into one. Deep center field. That ball's back. That ball is out of here. And Cats fans go nuts as Ty Cobb tattoos a 432-foot bomb to dead straightaway center. And the Cats fans love it. They get their early lead They dodged trouble in that first inning and then are able to capitalize on their own in the first. We now go top 2, and Maddox has himself in another jam. This time, facing Ty Cobb, an even better hitter than the Ken Griffey he had to face last time. We'll load up Ty Cobb's matchup analyzer here, as we know that Cobb, one of the best hitters in the game, versus right. 2-1 count. Pudge on third. Gwynn on first. The pitch. Line drive up the middle. Base hit. Pudge will score. Heading from first to third is Gwynn. He'll make it without a throw. And we've got a brand new ball game here in the second. We go all the way to the top of the 5th. We've still got the Cats' Maddox on the mound. Still facing Ty Cobb. Second iteration of this highlight in a row. And Gwynn on first base again. The pitch. Line drive. Base hit left. Gwynn takes the turn at second. He'll stop there. And the Maulers in business here with runners of first and second and nobody out. Next up is Rogers Hornsby. 1-2 count on him. Line in the pitch. Little grounder to second. To second one. Will not be able to complete the throw to first. They do get the fielder's choice at second base to keep the double play intact here. And we now have runners at the corners. And Freddie Freeman to the plate. Not just any Freddie Freeman, but a formerly Naperville Nomad Freddie Freeman in a big spot here in Game 3 as the Maulers look to take the lead. The infield has shifted, but they're also drawn in, looking to keep Gwynn from coming home. 1-0 count on Freeman. First to pickoff throw. Another pickoff throw. Now the count's 1-2. Maddox really would love a strikeout here. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Huge strikeout. Maddox, not known for his ability to induce swings and misses, gets a huge one there from the formerly Naperville Nomadian Freddie Freeman. 2 away now, and Maddox an out away, a strike away from getting out of this jam. He'll have to get through Willie Mays to do so. The pitch. Grounder to third. Short throw to second, and that'll do it. Maddox strands another 2 runners, and the Maulers are stranding a village out there here in Game 3. We go bottom 5 now. Walter Johnson in the game, at some point taking over for the Randy Johnson that started the game. And he faces Tony Gwynn here. 2-2 count. Wide in the pitch. That ball belted. Deep center field and gone! Fireworks here in San Diego. For the second time this game, they strike via the solo home run. And this time do so to gain a 2-1 advantage in the game. The Cats have only 2 hits in this ball game, both of them of the long ball variety. This one measures at 449 on the tape measure. And the Cats fans love every bit of it. The very next batter is Roy Campanella. And he gets into one. Deep right center. Did he do it? He did! It's back-to-back jacks for the Cats in Game 3. 419 feet to the opposite field for Roy Campanella in a tough matchup versus Walter Johnson. And the Cats can see themselves with that 3rd victory in the series hanging in the balance here. 3 hits in the game, all 3 home runs. And the Maulers are going to need to work themselves back into this game as they now trail by 2. Griffey's going to be their first hand they start with. And he crushes one to deep right center field. And that ball will go! Leadoff homer for Ken Griffey, his 7th in the postseason. This one goes 411 feet off his bat and cuts the lead in half. Make it 3-2 Cats here in the 6th. Now top 7. Ty Cobb up the plate versus Greg Maddox. Full count. Wind in the pitch. He walked him. Greg Maddox now has given up 7 base hits and 2 earned runs, he will give way to Trevor Hoffman, and Hoffman will be facing Rogers Hornsby with Ty Cobb aboard and 1 away. First pickoff throw. One-two count on Hornsby. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 2 away now. And you know what this means. That means that Freddie Freeman comes up in a spot, and he was unable to come through in the top of the 7th. So we now go top 8. And that means that Willie Mays is going to be leading off, but it's not just any Willie Mays. It is icy Willie Mays as he brings his snowflake to the plate here versus Trevor Hoffman. The wind and the pitch. Little grounder to second base. Fielded by Jackie and over to first. 1 up, 1 down. Now 2 away in the inning. And that brings up Robin Yount. Wind in the pitch. Little blooper to right. Ranging over is Gwynn. He'll put the leather on it. And we've got a 3 up, 3 down 8th inning. Which means the Maulers' best case scenario here is entering the 9th inning with his bottom of the lineup coming up. Chasing 1 run. But first, he needs to get through the 8th inning. And that's going to look like trying to retire Roy Campanella with Walter Johnson. Now, we know in this game already, this Roy Campanella has taken this Walter Johnson 419 feet to right center. The wind and the pitch. That ball's crushed into the right field corner. Heading over is Mays. He's doing so ever so gingerly and slowly. And he chucks it to third like a missile and gets Campanella. Willie Mays playing possum out in right field as he lollygags after it to coerce Campanella into trying for a leadoff triple. Campanella bites on the bait, and then Mays throws a 140-mile-an-hour laser beam from the track in right field to third base on a fly and has Campanella dead to right. Wait till next year has it right in the chat. A rope-a-dope. A successful rope-a-dope by Willie Mays in right field. Now, Emmett's Maulers runs him in right field, which ever so few teams do. And this is the type of high-level play you get when you do so. We now go top 9. And it is put up or shut up time for the Emmett's Maulers. And they're going to be working against a tough customer. We showed you before this game that Mariano Rivera is the #1 pitcher in run prevention in Perfect League for the past 3 seasons. And that will be put to the test here tonight. He will start off this inning against Knapp. The new Knapp card, special edition. Let's load it up. We see that Knapp is a slug-heavy profile from the right side. Does a decent job of making his contact count versus right-hand pitching. Right at a league-neutral bat, right versus right. And he wouldn't mind getting into one here. Rivera winds and deals. And that one is looped to first base. And a great play. Ranging over as Rogers Hornsby makes the play in foul territory. 1 up, 1 down, and a tough customer retired. Next up is Pudge Rodriguez. This is where you'd love to see a pinch hitter if you're Emmett's Maulers. But no dice for him. And we'll see Yvonne Rodriguez come to the plate. We'll load up the matchup analyzer to show you just how dire a situation this is as Pudge bats a robust 224, 261, 373 from the right side versus right-hand pitching. Good enough for a -26 bat value. 1-1 count. Wind in the pitch. Line drive, base hit up the middle. Pudge Rodriguez doesn't care about your stats, DRC. Pudge is interested in winning this ball game. He is now aboard at first base, no pinch runner. So Pudge will stay in the game to run for himself as Gwynn comes to the dish. We'll load up the versus left split. 2-0 count on Gwynn. The Cats are a double play away from leading 3-0 in the series. The Emmett Maulers need a good gap here to tie this ball game. Wind in the pitch. That ball belted! Deep right center! Does it have the distance? No! Dies on the track in the glove of Willie Mays. Tony Gwynn just getting under that one. Nearly had a game-flipping home run. And so now this game comes down to Ty Cobb facing Mariano Rivera. Tying run at first, go-ahead run at the plate. There's the pitch. Ground to second base. Throw to first. In time. And the San Diego Cats have taken a commanding 3-0 lead in the series. On the backs of a 3-2 game here in Game 3 at Jack Murphy Stadium. Cats fans elated. Recall, this is only their third trip to the Perfect League, their first trip to the Perfect League playoffs, and they now look up at the scoreboard. They look up at the Out of the Park Twitch channel and see themselves up 3-0 in the series. In this game, as we look at the matchup, we had Greg Maddux pitch a solid outing for the Cats. Something that has been similar in Games 1 and Game 2. The Cats have just had dynamite starting pitching. And after Maddux leaves the game, they're able to get through it with Hoffman and Rivera. Look at the ERAs on the Cats side of this box score. Maddux under 1. Hoffman rocking a 0. Rivera sub 1 as well. I have not seen many a playoff journey that spans 4 rounds that has all 3 of these gentlemen as dominant as this one. Over on Emmett's side, we see that Randy Johnson was short-lived for the game. He started the game, he threw 3 batters. And then he gave way to Walter Johnson, who went the rest of the way. And Johnson, during his 3 batters, did give up a home run. Gwynn took him yard. Or was it Cobb? It was Cobb. Cobb took him yard in the first. And then Walter came in and he gave up a couple home runs as well. 1 to Campanella, 1 to Gwynn. And as the Maulers are just struggling to score runs, they're struggling to drive in their men on base. Look at the disparity here. The Emmett's Maulers strand 15 base runners in this ball game. The San Diego Cats strand 2. That is a tough disparity to work with. All right, let's try to load up another game here. Now, given that this series is 3-0, we have entered the dreaded long sim territory, which means if Katie were to win this one, if the San Diego Cats were to win this Game 4 sim, we likely won't have proof of it. We won't have a return to sim for another 10, 15 minutes. And I do not have a sim to work with here. Quite yet. So I'll bring you guys back in. Game 4 is scheduled to be a Pedro v. Pedro battle. Going into it, we see that Emmett's Maulers Pedro is 4-0 in the postseason with a 1.14 ERA, contrasting to Katie's Pedro being 2-1 with a 3.79. Real Teddy-O likes Pedro this game. He's got his money on Pedro. BDBK says sweep shouldn't happen on streams because it equals less packs. While that is true, it does equal Dishnet getting to bed at a more reasonable hour. So we got to take the good with the bad. Hitman 1798 saying, if only Gwynn ate his Wheaties. If Gwynn gets a little bit more into that ball, we've got a 4-3 game going to the bottom of the ninth. We've got, I don't think I'm going to be able to pronounce that name correctly, Drena, Dren and Tarb. So proud of you, Kate. So we are looking for our Game 4 sim. I'll give it another couple minutes before I try again. While we wait, we can go ahead and look at our hitter splits. So first we'll start with complete stats. And these stats are going to be for the last 3 years. I've got some of the newer cards highlighted. So for the past 3 seasons, if you're wondering who the best hitter is, I've got a resounding answer for you. It's Ty Cobb, and it's not close. We see that he is producing more than 3 runs of bat value than the next closest hitter, and that next closest hitter being Rogers Hornsby. So Cobb far and away the best, Hornsby far and away the second best. And then from there we get into a group of elite left-handed batters, going Speaker, Connor, Gwynn, and Boggs. Speaker, Connor, Gwynn, and Boggs, kind of your lefty cheese starter pack. If you're running lefty cheese, this is often what you've got here. Now we see with Emmett tonight, instead of Connor, he's running Freeman, and he did so with good success, and he's also running righty cheese, so not the best example. After that 4-pack of lefties, we've got Hank Aaron coming in here with a platoon shielded 7.49 bat value. And right behind him is our new Barry Bonds, 6.83. And then we get our first elite defensive card, that being Willie Mays and his 106 range in center field, providing a positive bat value in addition to that at 4.49. Someone pointing out that Knapp is a lot worse than they thought. Yeah, I've been a little surprised by that as well. I thought that Knapp would be closer to a league average bat, but do keep in context what this is. You know, this is someone who's rocking 98 range, which is a lot more infield range than any other name you see on here. To see middle infield bats, you're going to have to keep going down this list. Let's find the first one. So Cal Ripken. Cal Ripken in a platoon shielded 14,000 plate appearance sample here is at -9, and he's roughly the same range as Knapp. Chuck 8403 asking if bat R is a calculated value. Yes, it is. Let's see if I've missed any other questions. We've got someone advertising a silver Rico Bronya, so definitely check that out. Wait till next year judging my willingness to sell bronzes for 48 perfect points. Not something that I wanted to show up on stream. Yeah, Dogberry, I think that, there are some people who say that 98 range is not enough to run middle infield at this stage of the game cycle because we have options that are a lot better. You could have a Brooks Robinson there. You could have Ozzie, obviously. Pop Lloyd's still around for some reason. And then you've got your Rabbit Marinvilles of the world, your Mark Belongers. So in the context of middle infielders, there's definitely a cornucopia, I'll use that word for the second time tonight, of options to go more range heavy up the middle. However, all of those guys are going to be down at the bottom of this list. So we go all the way down to the bottom, and this is where they live. This is where we should call it Defenseville. This is where leather resides. Pop Lloyd, negative 25. Ozzie, negative 30. Rabbit, negative 34. Belanger, negative 52. And so it's your judgment. Do you want to run a defense-heavy build and absorb the runs that you're going to lose from batting these guys? Or do you want to subtract out some of that range and then pick up Knapp? So let me see if I can get them both on the screen at the same time. I don't know that I will be able to. Yeah, there we go. So, if these numbers are to be trusted here, and Knapp is basically costing you 4 runs versus the average bat over the course of a season, and Mark Belanger is costing you 48 runs, more than that, over the course of a season, it calls into question how many runs additionally you're saving by having that glove. And so, while I'm not here to tell you to run Knapp at second base, I do see some builds that where it's debatably the right move to have him in there. Wait till next year asking if we have any Yogi left in Perfect League. Let's go to catcher and see. Nope, no Yogi. This is what we've got. We've got Mauer as the most heavily used catcher. Campanella right behind him. Pudge, in terms of plate appearances, behind him. And then very small samples of both Ted Simmons and Johnny Bench. So no more Yogi. Fire Red JP remembers the Belanger bomb that we had, I think 3 weeks ago. And wait till next year, you could be right. That could be an iron card. I am in the process of getting down to ground zero of all my dupes, and I am selling both irons and bronzes, so don't judge me for that. Real Teddy O asking what Simmons' CERA is. I could pull it up. I don't have a stream-ready display for you, so that will be a homework assignment for me. All right, let's try to pull down a sim again and see if we've got it. So 630 sim is day 214. Let's see if we've got our game 4 ready for us. No. The answer is no. We still wait. Let me pull up the playoff tree and then bring it right back. So I did add something to my visualization here. Just another column to represent how well or not well platooned these batters are. So it might be hard to get all this on the same at the screen at the same time. Maybe we just pop this open a little bit. There we go. So look at this column here. It's called fave percent, and this is how frequently these batters are batting with the favorable matchup. So for Joe Mauer, that means how often are they batting facing a right-hand pitcher. And then for Roy Campanella, it would be how often are they batting facing a left-hand pitcher. And then for someone like Ted Simmons, who's a switch hitter, they are facing the offhand of the pitcher every time. So they come in at a 100% favorability rating. So the reason I popped this up is to just show you how different right and left platoons are. When you platoon a left-handed batter, you're going to be able to drive a very significant number of plate appearances versus the preferred side. So let's say you've got Freddie Freeman. You're going to get Freddie Freeman batting against righties 80 to 85% of the time, which is great. And then those 15% of the time, it's not great, but that's kind of just an unavoidable outcome. Whereas for a right-hand batter, if you're platooning, you're really going to be closer to 50-50. Let's get off catcher because that's kind of a wonky example with them having to play through fatigue so frequently, and some people like Katie running Campanella both ways. But let's pull up someone who is only platooned like Cal Ripken. And maybe that's not even the best example. Maybe we go to the outfield for like a Hank Aaron. So Hank Aaron is mostly only used as a right-handed batter facing left-handed starting pitching. So shielded as much as a right-handed batter can. And he's only rocking a 50% favorability rating. So the lefty starts the game. Hank's going to get a couple of plate appearances against him. And then more often than not, a righty's coming into that game. And his overall favorability rating is going to suffer because of it. So if you have two identical cards, both of them destroy their offhand, and both of them suffer against their same hand, the left-handed batter is going to put up better statistics over the course of the season because they are able to tap into their favorable side a whole lot more successfully. Yeah, let me show you that Appling. So the reason that Appling's going to be so low is that people platoon him versus right only because he's actually better in terms of getting on base versus right-hand pitching than he is versus left-hand pitching. So just an additional context here. And one of the reasons that I looked into this is because you have something like Tris Speaker popping and showing as if he's a better bat than Tony Gwynn, when in reality, Tony Gwynn is just facing tougher matchups. So if we just isolate this split down to left-handed batters, you see Speaker as the number 2 batter, but you also see that he is a whole lot more babied than your Tony Gwynn and your Wade Boggs, who are facing a whole lot more lefties. All right, let's try to load up our sim again. We are at 18 minutes, which is normally right in the sweet spot of when we can actually get a sim to load up. Yeah, Hitman, we are mired in the long sim territory right now. It has every indication of looking like the San Diego Cats might 4-0 their way to the 2063 Perfect League World Series. But we still do not have a sim. I called this out earlier today, but we'll point it out once again. So today was a unique week in Perfect League in that the quantity of Diamond Leagues was such that the Perfect League needed to spare an extra life. The relegation Puma did not have the same appetite this week as it has all of the prior weeks. And there's one team that got to not make the playoffs and also get an invitation back to Perfect next week. That team is the Ottawa Hammerheads, headed by Tech 15, who we've seen on the stream at least 2 or 3 times as he's vied for Perfect League glory and earned it once. And so he's the mild card for this week, as it's been termed, and he's going to be back next week, whereas everyone beneath that line, including the Topeka Defenders and the 90s expansions who shared an identical season record with the Hammerheads, will be on their way to Diamond. Oof, asking if there's any lactose-free fields, and the answer is no tonight. Both owners rocking a cheese build. We've got one left and one right. However, they do it differently. Mahler's is minning out the gaps, so going full power for righties, both from a home run perspective and from an average perspective, while nuking the gaps entirely. Whereas Katie is maxing the gaps in terms of doubles and triples, maxing the average for lefties, so going the other way than Emmett, but she is choosing to min out the home runs both ways, lefties and righties, in her cheese park. All right, let's try it again. We're at 20 minutes. We've got to be right on the cusp of a Game 4 sim. We are still not back. Let's take one more look at Katie's backstory here. San Diego Cats. So a team that very quickly rose up the ranks. Week 1 was a 154-8 rookie league season, and really she didn't slow down from there. Picking up 140-plus wins, working up stone, iron, bronze, silver. Only having a quote-unquote hiccup, or speed bump, if you will, in the form of a 135-win gold season in 2031. Move on to Diamond, pick up another 128 wins, win the Diamond level, and head up into that perfect league in 2033. You don't see many teams that won every level on their ascension, and Katie not only did it, she did it in succession. So gets to perfect in 2033, and the team wasn't quite ready. Team goes 76-86. From a run scoring, run avoidance perspective, a bit generous in terms of run avoidance and not doing enough on the run scoring perspective, and she gets sent right back down to Diamond. And from there, in Diamond, you've got nothing but green here. Green meaning wins over, I believe it's 95 or 94 is the line there, and most of these weeks, well over 110 wins. But the playoffs were not friendly to Crazy Katie. And this is somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 weeks where they go into the playoffs as a division winner in most of these weeks, as someone not having to go through the wild card game and not able to traverse their route to a Diamond League champion until 2050. And they get their second crack at perfect. And the second crack goes pretty darn similar to the first one. So instead of 76 wins, they get 77. And are sent right back down to Diamond. And at this point in time, the game has changed. Face of the franchise is done. Diamond leagues are a lot stronger. And you see that in her record. Instead of being a 110 win every week season, every week team, there's some 90s. There's even an 80. There are some weeks with no playoffs. But 2061 not only makes the playoffs on the heels of a 107-win season, but then launches into an 111-win campaign where they make the playoffs and earn their way right back into perfect. And that brings us to this season here. All right, let's try to load it up one more time. 23 minutes should be just what the doctor ordered. Emperor Conan with a good point that Katie was the first, I believe, to take the leap into the new Jackie card. The Jackie card gets pulled, goes to auction, and Katie moves on it. And that has her sitting here today. So let's try to load up this sim here. I believe it will be in here. All right, let's see. Still don't have it. Even though Katie's telling me in my DMs that it is in. All right, let's try this one more time. Cavicom's got a great point. World Series trophy to every level is very impressive. I definitely can't tout the same myself. All right, we are in. We've got our sim. Let's pop it up and see what happened in Game 4. A Pedro v. Pedro battle. We'll start off with Katie's Pedro facing Emmett's Tony Gwynn to start this Game 4. Wine in the pitch, and Gwynn laces a single to center to start off this Game 4. The Maulers need themselves some run scoring. Run scoring has been at a premium through 3 games, and they certainly could use an early lead here. Ty Cobb bats here with Gwynn on second, and there's a line drive, base hit to left. Gwynn around third. He's going to try to score. Here comes the throw to the plate. Not in time. The Maulers, 2 batters into Game 4, find themselves up 1-0. We go bottom 1 now, and Katie looking to strike back. Facing Emmett's Warren Spahn. Willie Mays will have an opportunity to do so here with 2 on. And he laces a base hit to right field. Around third is LaJoy. He's going to try to score. Safe. Make it 1-1. The Maulers' 1-0 lead is ever so short-lived. And we know go bottom 2, and the Cats are looking to take the lead. Oh, I'm not even sure. This game's just for me. You guys wanted to see? This is just for me. It's a radio broadcast. Who said anything about video? You got to pay extra for that. Bottom 2. So we've got a 1-1 game. And we've got Campanella at the plate here for the Cats. There's the wind. And Campanella gets into one. Back. Gone! Campanella goes deep. Make it 3-1 Cats. The Maulers just have not been able to get the lead, and when they've had the lead, they have not been able to hold the lead, and that holding true so far here in game number 4. Top 4 now. Maulers with another chance to get right back at it, and they're going to start this rally with runners at first and second. As you see the icicles building up, look at the blizzard over there on the Emmett Maulers lineup card. They've got Freeman, Mays, and Smith all rocking snowflakes. Well, Griffey is not adorned with a snowflake, so maybe he can come through here for the Maulers. 0-1 count. Wine in the pitch, and that ball's crushed to left field. Ranging over and making a diving catch is Tris Speaker. Saving extra bases, saving at least a run. What an incredible catch. That brings up Robin Yount here with 1 away. Wine in the pitch. Line drive, base hit to right field. Around third comes Freeman. He's going to try to score. Here's the play at the plate. Not in time. Freeman scores on the RBI single by Robin Yount. Make it 3-2. Next up, Ozzie Smith. The pitch. Line drive. Base hit up the middle. Smith with a single. Mays around third. He's going to try to score. Strong throw home is not in time. And we've got a brand new ball game here in the 4th. Next batter, Yvonne Rodriguez. He'll bat with 2 on and 1 away. The Cats looking for a double play here. Wine in the pitch. Little looper to left. Ranging over his Speaker. He'll squeeze it, make it 2 away. Next up, Tony Gwynn. Fans come to their feet here, cheering on the hometown Pedro Martinez, hoping to get out of this inning and have an opportunity to get the lead right back in the bottom half. 0-2 count. Wine in the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Pedro Martinez strikes out Tony Gwynn, his 6th strikeout of the game. And that will leave a couple runners on the base paths for the Maulers. We go top 7 now. Into the game comes Bartolo Colon. We know he had that excellent relief appearance in Game 1 of this series. He'll be looking to do the same here and hold the line while the Cats get into a position to take the lead in the bottom half. He's got Tony Gwynn on first, and he's facing Ty Cobb. First a pickoff throw. Now 1-1 count, another pickoff throw. 2-2 count now for Cobb. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Bartolo Colon with a clutch strikeout here in the 7th. That brings up Rogers Hornsby, who's worked a favorable 2-1 count. The pitch to him. Grounded to third and through. Heading to second is Gwynn. He's going to try for third. He'll make it. Heading to second is Hornsby. He gets there. Gwynn's running through a stop sign. And he runs it and scores. Tony Gwynn with some aggressive base running. And dumbfounded was Ozzie Smith of the San Diego Cats catching the relay throw. Did not get the communication to fire to the plate, and that's going to cost the Cats. Make it 4-3 Maulers on the clutch play by Tony Gwynn. We go bottom 7 now. The Maulers will once again try to protect a lead. This seems like a pretty favorable situation to do so. 2 out, nobody on. One of the game's worst hitters in Ozzie Smith at the plate. Wine and the pitch. Strike 3 called. Maulers end the 7th. Bottom 8 now. Hoffman still on the hill. And he's going to be working through a tough crowd here. Start off with Tris Speaker, who you see in that bottom right top PEL hitters graphic as the second best hitter in Perfect League over the past 3 weeks. 1-2 count on him. The Wine and the pitch. Grounder to second. Easy pitch, easy catch. Robin Yount fields that one with no trouble. 1 up, 1 down. Next batter is Knapp. He's worked himself a full count. Wine in the pitch. He walked him. Knapp works a 6-pitch walk, which is going to bring up Ty Cobb, the best hitter in the game over the past 3 weeks. 0-2 count. Into the game comes Randy Johnson, and the line to center, and making a sliding catch is Ken Griffey Jr. He hurries back to the track, makes a sliding grab, which will cause Knapp to retreat to first, saving at least a run there. 2 outs now in the inning for Rogers Hornsby. As you can see in the bottom right-hand graphic, Hornsby's been the second best hitter in Perfect League over the past 3 weeks. And he bats here with 2 outs and a man in scoring position. The pitch. Fly ball left field. Ranging over is Gwynn. And he's got it. That'll end the threat here in the 8th. The Maulers enter the 9th inning, nursing a 1-run lead. Top 9 now. The Maulers have intentions of adding to that lead. And they'll start off with an icy cold Ozzie Smith. Wine in the pitch. Line drive right field. Base hit. Ozzie Smith starts off this 9th inning where the Maulers are searching for insurance runs with an icy cold single to right. Pudge now bats with a 3-1 count. The pitch. Line drive up the middle. Base hit. Pudge with a single to follow on Ozzie Smith as the Maulers are getting all of their bad hitters aboard here in the 9th. Next up, Tony Gwynn. Wine in the pitch. Line drive to left. Base hit. 3 consecutive singles for the Maulers. Holding at third will be Ozzie Smith, and they're now loaded. With the heart of the order coming up. It looks as though Ty Cobb struck out. And now batting is Cal Ripken. Facing Bruce Sutter. Bases loaded. Infield drawn in. And 1 away. Wine in the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Huge strikeout for Bruce Sutter, which is going to put the fate of this rally into the hands of an icy cold Brooks Robinson, as he will battle Sutter here down 1-2 in the count. Infield can now move back to normal depth. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Crowd goes wild as the Cats' Bruce Sutter heroically gets out of that bases loaded, nobody out jam and is able to keep the score at 4-3 Maulers. Mariano Rivera into the game for the Maulers, looking to nail down this first win of the series, having visions of reverse sweeping the Cats. The Cats faithful and Cats fans won't sit down. They feel a little magic in the air, and they'll start it off with Willie Mays. The pitch, little looper, right center, ranging in is Mays. Diving grab! Willie Mays with an incredible play in right center field to keep the other Willie Mays off the bases. Now 1 count. Fans again come to their feet, this time cheering on Barry Bonds. Rivera deals. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That quiets the fans again as the San Diego Cats now down to their last out before forcing a Game 5. And it's going to be Tony Gwynn against Rivera. Line in the pitch. That one crushed into the corner. Gwynn not ready for this game to end yet. He's got himself a sliding double. And now the Cats will have the tying run on second base. Lou Gehrig to the plate. Gwynn representing the tying run. Lou Gehrig representing the winning run. And he's worked a full count on Mariano Rivera here in the bottom of the ninth. He walked him. The winning run is aboard for the Cats in the form of Lou Gehrig as Joe Mauer takes to the batter's box. So we talked a lot in the open of this game about how Crazy Katie starts Roy Campanella versus right-hand pitching instead of Joe Mauer, which is more often seen. Well, because she does that, it has set up this opportunity late in this game to be able to go to Joe Mauer over Ozzie Smith with an opportunity to tie this one, and with an extra base hit, maybe even walk it off. 1-1 count. The line in the pitch. That ball hit well. Deep left field. It might be. It could be. It is. And the Cats have walked off the 2063 Perfect League World Series on a pinch hit. Joe Mauer home run. 380 happy feet to left field. We've got fireworks. We've got cheers. The San Diego Cats in their first ever Perfect League appearance find themselves holding the trophy at the end of it, and doing so in high drama in a 4-game sweep of the Emmets Maulers. How sweet it is. Mauer was waiting his whole life for that opportunity, for that at bat, and boy, did he deliver. Look at the win expectancy chart here. Maulers within 1 out of pushing this one to Game 5. And then Gwynn gets the ringing double. They walk Gehrig. And then the rest is history as Joe Mauer struts up in a pinch hit appearance for Ozzie Smith. And goes Oppo Taco. Extra guac. Hold the sour cream. What a game. What a series. And the Maulers, the story of this series was the Maulers just were not able to score enough runs. And when they did score runs, they couldn't protect those leads. The Cats were relentless. You couldn't put them away. And we saw that over the course of those 4 games. And looking at the box score from a pitching perspective, we did not get our Pedro v. Pedro matchup here. We got Spawn. And Spawn and Pedro performed pretty similarly. The big difference here being that Mariano Rivera for Emmets couldn't put the game away. Tony Gwynn found a gap. Lou Gehrig worked a walk. And then Joe Mauer took things into his own hands. So as we look at the series itself, series MVP goes to Roy Campanella. He got a lot of talk in the setup of the series. He hit 2 big home runs, 4 big series RBIs, and was the every at-bat catcher for the Cats up until Joe Mauer comes in for his 1 plate appearance, walking it off and sending San Diego into a drunken frenzy. So congratulations to Crazy Katie. Get him next time to Emmett's Maulers. Both of these teams will be right back in Perfect League come tomorrow morning with every opportunity to earn their way back into this scene and this stage here again next Sunday. So we'll zoom out and take one final look at our playoff tree. You see the San Diego Cats emerging victorious here. 3-0 versus the Chinooks in round 1. 4-3 versus the Penguins in round 2. 4-1 versus the Highland Deer in round 3. And then taking the Emmett's Maulers out 4-0 in the World Series. Duck 45-90 with a great point. In the top of the 9th, Emmett's was looking for insurance runs. They loaded the bases on 3 consecutive singles. And then Bruce Suter strikes out Ty Cobb. And then the 2 batters to follow in succession to get out of the jam and keep it at a 1-run game. And boy, did that ever end up mattering big time. So that will conclude our coverage of the Perfect League World Series tonight. I thank you all for watching. I thank you all for interacting in the chat. I look forward to seeing you guys next week as we will crown another Perfect League World Series. And with that said, this is DRC signing off.